Spreadsheet, formulas and functions. In the previous grade, you have learned how to edit and format data in an MS Excel worksheet. In this chapter, you will learn how to use formulas and functions to perform calculations in MS Excel. Formulas. Formulas are used to perform arithmetic calculations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. A formula refers to defined instructions given by the user in order to perform the desired calculations. Each formula is used to perform a specific calculation. In Microsoft Excel, you can perform calculations using mathematical formulas. Terms related to formula. Look at this table to learn about some important and commonly used terms in Excel formulas. Rules to write a formula in MS Excel. Some of the rules to write a formula in MS Excel are as follows. A formula always begins with an equal to sign. In Excel, the equal to sign marks that the cell entry is a formula. In a formula, there must be an arithmetic operator which directs the operation on the given values. The values can either be in the form of numbers, text values, or even cell references or addresses. Press Enter key to get the output. Consider the given illustration in order to have a better understanding of the concept of formula and its rules. Performing simple calculation in Excel. In MS Excel, you can perform simple calculation entering the values directly within a cell. Let us directly add multiple numbers in a cell. Click on the cell where you wish to perform the calculation. Enter equal to sign followed by the desired values and operators. Now press Enter. Observe the result in the very cell, that is A1. Likewise, you can perform other operations like subtraction, multiplication and division. Cell range or reference. In Excel, you can perform calculations using the cell references or a range of cells. A cell reference could have a single cell address or a range. In MS Excel, a group of selected adjacent cells is called a range. A range could form the shape of a square or a rectangle, which varies as per the selection of cells. A range is defined by entering the starting and ending cell addresses separated by a colon. For example, A1 is to A8 or A1 is to C1 and so on. A cell reference guides Excel identifying a cell or a range of cells whose values or data is to be used in a formula. This table describes some examples of cell references. Naming a range. To name a range, do as follows. Enter the data in the worksheet. Select the cells you wish to cover in the range. Go to the Formulas tab. Click on the Define Name option in the Defined Names group. The New Name dialog box appears. In the Name field, assign a name for this range. Notice the specified range is reflected in the Refers to text box. In the Scope Combo box, define whether you wish to make the range name available to formulas in the entire workbook or only to a specific worksheet. In the Comment field, you can enter a comment about the range. Click OK. Using a named range. Let us now use the above created range to find the average marks. To do so, follow the steps given here. Bring the pointer in the cell in which you wish to calculate the average. Enter the formula. On the Formulas tab, click on the Use in Formula button in the Defined Names group. Select the test scores range name in the drop-down menu. Observe the very range name, that is test scores, appears in the formula. Type the closing bracket. Press Enter. The calculated result appears in the cell. Operators in MS Excel. Operators refer to the mathematical symbols that instruct Excel to perform the certain operations. Here, you will learn about the arithmetic operators that enable you to perform basic mathematical operations. Operators in Excel. This table describes some of the arithmetic operators. This table also displays the standard sequence in which they automatically get evaluated in an Excel formula. The sequence of an evaluation is called precedence. Rules. In case two operators of the same precedence occur in a formula, Excel evaluates them in the sequence they appear in the formula from left to right direction. If a formula contains any operation within brackets, then Excel evaluates it at the first place, followed by the above-mentioned order. Using simple formula. A simple formula contains only one operator. Here, you will learn how to perform calculation using the cell references or address rather than direct values. Let us add the numeric values given in the cells B2 and C2. Step 1. Place the pointer in the cell where you wish to enter the formula. Here, it is cell D2. Note, the cell address D2 reflects in the name box. Step 2. Type the equal to sign. Enter the formula equals to B2 plus C2 as shown here. The entered formula appears automatically both in the cell and on the formula bar. Observe, both the cell references are displayed in different colors. Press enter. The calculated result appears in cell D2. Copying formula using autofill. Excel enables you to apply the same formula to the subsequent cells using the autofill feature. Let us use the autofill feature to fill the total marks in the remaining cells. To do so, follow the steps given here. Bring the pointer over the fill handle of cell D2. Click and drag the pointer through the cell D5. Observe the results. Using compound formula. A compound formula includes multiple operators to perform calculation. To use compound formula, consider the figure. Let us calculate the average marks of a student using the formula total marks by total number of subjects. Place the cursor in the cell E2 and type the formula equals to D2 by 2. Cell D2 contains the total marks and the total number of subjects are 2. Press enter. The average mark of roll number 501 appears in the cell E2. Now, fill the average marks of the remaining roll numbers using the autofill feature. Place the pointer on the fill handle of cell E2. Click and drag the pointer through cell E5. Text formula. Excel lets you join text values or text strings together. Strings refer to words or characters in the form of text value. This is generally used when you wish to interpret a calculation in words. This operation is called concatenation. The strings are joined using an ampersand symbol. Each string must be enclosed within double quotes. For example, type equals to NexTech and books in a cell. Press enter. The result will be displayed as NexTech books as shown here. Consider the following example to understand how to use an ampersand string operator. Step 1. Select the cell where you want to show the result of the formula. Here, we have selected the cell A7. Step 2. Type equals to A2 ampersand has code ampersand B2 ampersand in maths and ampersand C ampersand in science. Step 3. Press enter to view the output. Step 4. Bring the pointer at the fill handle of cell A7. Step 5. Click and drag the fill handle through cell A10. Release the mouse button. Observe how quickly and accurately Excel copied the formula to the selected cell range. Click on each result to see the auto change done by Excel in the cell reference in formula. The formula is displayed on the formula bar. Hence, this feature eliminates the need of typing long sentences. Error results. In Excel, when you enter an incorrect formula, Excel fails to evaluate it. In such a situation, Excel displays an error result in the cell where you typed the formula. This table describes the common formula errors that occur in Excel. Types of cell references. The cell referencing allows an applied formula to update automatically when it is copied from one cell to another in a worksheet. Cell references can be categorized into 3 types, which are described in the coming section. Remember, each cell reference acts differently when copied to another cell. Relative reference. Relative reference is the default cell reference in MS Excel. When you copy a formula to another cell, notice the row and column references automatically change. For example, in cell D2, you have entered the formula equals to B2 plus C2, which means in cell D2, you will get the sum of values that cells B2 and C2 contain. And if you copy this formula to cell D3, Excel automatically replaces the previous cell references to match the current location. In this case, it will be B3 plus C3. Therefore, Excel will calculate the sum of the values that cells B3 and C3 contain rather than B2 and C2. Let us understand through this figure. Select the cell D2. Type the formula equals to B2 plus C2. Press Enter. The requested calculation appears in the cell D2. Fill the cells D3 to D6 using the autofill feature. Bring the cursor onto the fill handle of cell D2. Click and drag the pointer through cell D6. Release the mouse button. Observe the calculated results that appear in cells D3 to D6. Absolute reference. In absolute referencing, the row and the column reference freeze when you copy the formula to another location. It means the cell reference in the formula remains the same even when the formula moves to another cell. In absolute referencing, a dollar sign is placed right before the column letter as well as the row number. For example, $B$1, $B$4, and so on. Consider this figure to understand the functioning of absolute referencing. Select the cell A8 and type 2. Select the cell E2. Enter the formula equals to D2 asterisk $8. Press Enter. The calculated result appears in the cell E2. Click and drag the fill handle of cell E2 through the cell E6. Release the mouse button. Notice the requested result appears in the cells E3 to E6. Click on the cell E3. Observe the formula in the formula bar. It shows equals D3 asterisk $8. The part before the operator, that is D3, is relative reference, and the later part, that is asterisk $8 is absolute reference. Mixed reference. This reference is a combination of relative and absolute reference. Hence, in mixed cell referencing, one part of a cell address is relative and the other is absolute. That means either row reference is relative or column reference is absolute, or vice versa. Example, $B$1 or $B1. Consider this figure to learn how to create multiplication tables using mixed reference in a formula. Here, you will learn how to create multiplication tables of 5, 10, 20 and 25. Select the cell B2. Type the formula equals to $A2 asterisk $B$1 and press Enter. The calculated result appears in the cell B2, that is 5. Click and drag the fill handle of cell B2 through K2. Now, copy the formula to the next row by dragging the fill handle of cell K2 through K5. Release the mouse button. The tables of 5, 10, 20 and 25 appears as shown here. Circular reference. In MS Excel, a formula that contains its own cell value or contains a cell dependent on its own cell value directly or indirectly is called a circular reference. For example, select the cell A4 and enter the formula equals to A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4. Look, here you have made the formula refer to its own value, that is A3. Press Enter. MS Excel displays a message as shown in the figure. Carefully read the message and click OK. Observe, the cell containing the formula, that is A4, is filled with 0 as the return value. Notice, the status bar shows a notification that a circular reference is found in the worksheet. It also displays the cell address where it has occurred. In the given example, it is A4. Functions. In Excel, the predefined formulas to perform specific calculations are called functions. Functions are mainly used to perform long and complex calculations. Using functions to perform calculation saves time and also increases efficiency. It eliminates the chances to enter an incorrect formula in a cell. In the following section, you will learn how to use some basic functions such as sum, average, max, min, and count. Rules to use a function. A function begins with an equal to sign. Enter a valid function name. For example, sum, average, max, and so on. In a function, a cell reference or a range name must be enclosed within parentheses. Using the sum function. Type in the data as shown here. Let us now add the values using the sum function. Select the cell G2, type equal to sign and enter the function name sum. Type the open parenthesis symbol, that is. To add the values of the cells B2 to F2, click on the cell B2. Notice the cell address B2 appears after the opening parenthesis. Click and drag the pointer through cell F2. Observe, a moving marquee appears around the cells B2 to F2. Cell G2 shows the formula equals to sum, parenthesis, B2 is to F2. Note, the formula bar also displays the same. Now, type the closing parenthesis, that is, at the cursor position. Press Enter. The sum total of all the values appears in the cell G2. The syntax to write sum formula is syntax B2 plus C2 plus D2 plus E2 plus F2. Function equals to sum B2 is to F2. Similarly, you can use the average, count, max, min functions. The following illustrations help understanding these functions. Average. It calculates the average of all the numeric values within the selected range. Count. This function counts the number of cells that contain the numeric values within the defined range. Max. This function enables you to find the largest value within the defined range. Min. This function is used to find the smallest value within the specified range. Some other functions. Apart from the common functions discussed here, Excel provides some additional functions which are described in this table. Function, syntax, description. Odd. Rounds a number up to the nearest odd integer. Int. Returns the rounded number to the next lowest integer value. Product. Multiplies all the numbers given within a range and returns the product value. Round. Rounds a number to the specified digit. exp. Returns the exponential number raised to the specified power. sqrt. Returns the square root of a number. Power. Returns the result of a number raised to the defined number. Mod. Returns the remainder of two numbers after division. AutoSum feature. The AutoSum feature in Excel can be used to find sum, average, max, min, count, and so on. The AutoSum button is available at two places on the ribbon. Home tab, Editing group, AutoSum button. Formulas tab, Function library group, AutoSum button. Using AutoSum feature. Consider the data shown here to calculate the total marks using the AutoSum function. To add the total marks of open, enter the data as shown in figure. Select the cell G2, go to the Home tab, click on the AutoSum button in the Editing group. In the cell G2, Excel prompts the sum function along with the definite cell range. Notice a marquee around the cells B2 through F2. press Enter or click on the Auto Sum button. The output appears in cell G2. Use Fill handle to calculate the values in the remaining cells. Likewise, you can perform average, min, max, count, and other functions using the options available in the Auto Sum button drop-down menu as shown here. Function Library. Excel 2010 has various functions which are located in the Function Library group on the Formulas tab. Select the Delete option in the Shortcut menu. Likewise, you can change the color of the Sheet tab.